Hello, my name is Nadia Verde. Welcome to our first interview on Stephen Krashen. I meet the two great experts who will be clarifying some those. Their names are Katherin Hernandez and Carmen Núñez.
Hello, it's a pleasure.
Hello, everyone.
So, according to Krashen, we all acquire a second language in the same way when we understand the messages. We call this comprehensible input with acquire a language when we understand what people say and know how they say it when we understand what we read. But let the expert tell us more about this wonderful topic. To start, I would like to know who is Stephen Krashen.
Okay. He was born in 1941 in Chicago, Illinois, United States. Stephen Crutches is an emeritus professor of education at the University of Southern California, known for his theory of second language acquisition.
What is the theory?
His second language acquisition theory is based on five theories, which are learning versus acquisition, monitor hypothesis, input hypothesis, affective future hypothesis, and natural order hypothesis.
Could you please give a brief explanation on the learning versus acquisition hypothesis?
Of course, the learning versus acquisition hypothesis. According to his hypothesis, there are two systems to develop the ability in a second language. The first is the acquisition of language that occurs by imitation. When children speak, they imitate what they hear. The child imitates sound, imitate the expression of sentence produced by the parents, and imitate the vocabulary. It is an indispensable process in the condition of language learning in the classroom. On the other hand, the learning system is different. It is like a conscious process. It is knowing about a second language and knowing it formally. According to Krashen, learning is less important than acquisition.
So, according to Krashen, do we learn or acquire a second language?
According to his theory, Stephen Krashen stated that language is acquired through natural communication with others. We acquire a second language when we understand messages that have a somewhat higher level of difficulty than the one we have already developed. Grammatical structures are acquired in a predetermined order.
Now, could you explain Steve Krashen's second theory to us?
Okay. The monitor hypothesis explains the relationship between acquisition and learning and define the influence of the latter of the former. The monitoring according is the practical result of the learner grammar. According to Krashen, the acquisition system in the other ends initial, while the linear system performs the role of the monitor or the editor. The monitor acts in a planning, editing, and correcting function when three specific conditions are met. The second language learning has sufficient time at their disposal and they focus on for or think about currentness and they know the rule.
Let's talk about the input hypothesis. Is the hypothesis that learning can only acquire a second language?
Yes, this hypothesis answer the question of how the language acquire develops his competence over time. Um, we are only able to acquire new competence when we understand the language that consists understand thanks to context of the language we hear or read and tend to our knowledge of the world.
Now, I would like to know about the natural order hypothesis.
Okay, let's see. The natural order hypothesis. It indicates that grammatical structures are acquired in a predictable order. For example, in English, the two grammatical morphemes ing and es of the plural are the first to be acquired. Krashen explained that learning acquired the component of language in a fixed or predictable order, which is identical for all. On the other hand, emphasize based on the idea that since there is a natural order for the acquisition of a second language, it doesn't mean that classes should necessarily focus on the sequential order of grammatical structure because there are second language acquisition programs, language which do not focus on teaching grammar.
Tell me, Carmen, I would like to know about the effective filter hypothesis.
Well, the effective filter is comparable to an effective block that the student can present when in the classroom. Factors such as anxiety, demotivation, and low self-esteem or self-confidence, and others. In other hand, the process of acquiring a foreign language can affect due to lack of motivation, stress in class, and lack of self-confidence. However, these process acquisition are favorable, which include good motivation, good without stress, and finally that there is some confidence, and then that they can achieve it.
Thank you very much, expert, for having accepted the invitation to this interview. In a conclusion, Krashen hypothesis can be summarized as follows in learning a second language. Adults can develop their linguistic competence through acquisition and learning. The grammatical structure are acquired in a predetermined order. It was a pleasure for me and see you in the next one. Thank you.